Okay. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, girls and boys, a very special good evening to everyone. Myself, Shabnam, back again. This is day 6 at SQL Bootcamp. We started right from simple queries like how to create a table, how to insert data in the table, some DDL queries, some DML, if I'm not wrong. Later, we moved on to understand joins, and the last class we talked about the group by clause. Am I right? Fine. Okay. Today, the session is all about subqueries, which is once again a very interesting topic in SQL. Right? Okay, let's go then and try to execute some queries. This is my table which I have already kept created for the session today. It's an employee table. If you could see, there are around 4 columns in this table. Employee ID, this is a primary key. Employee names, Elise, Bob, Charlie, David, Eva and Frank. Department ID, respectively 10, 20, 30, 40, whatever. And the salaries. Okay, some employees work in the same department as well. Like Elise and Charlie both works in department number 10, and Bob and Eva both works in department number 20. What should I say? Okay, David works in department number 30 and Frank works in department number 40. Okay, with the respective salary that they withdraw. All right, fine. So this was the introduction to my table data set that I'm going to use today. To save the session time, I kept it created. Now let me introduce you theoretically, first of all, what exactly is a subquery. Everyone? Okay. All right. So here we go. Subquery, as the name itself says, it's a query inside another query. Okay, it's a query inside another query. Like you say, this is a subfolder or a subdirectory. That means a directory inside directory or a folder inside a folder. Likewise, when you say this is a subquery, it means it is a query inside another query. All right. The inner query is a subquery. The outer query is called as a main query. What is this inner and outer? Let me introduce you that. This is the same table whose screenshot I've kept created, more or less same. Right. Now I want to find out all those employees who earn more than average salary. Okay. For example, I want to find out in this employee table who are those employees who work more, who have more than average of everyone's salary. Now to find out the output of this query, I first need to know what is the average of all these salaries, right? So how will I write a query which will display average salary of all? Is that okay? How will I write a query? For example, if this is my table, am I right? And I want to find out average of all the salaries. So I simply say select average of salary as average from employees table. So this is what is an average. 5916. I round it up to it. Is that okay? Somebody has a salary 5,000, somebody's salary is 6,000. Like this, somebody's salary is even 8,000. But average of everyone's salary is 5,916. So if you see, these people earn more than average. Bob, because it is 6,000 and which is more than 5916. David earns more than average, and Eva is out here because she earns less than the average, correct? Frank earns more than average. He earns 8,000 people, and which is again more than average, right? But what this query has given us an output is only average of everyone's salary. That is only the average of everyone's salary, people, correct? So what if I want to find out who are those guys whose salary is more than the average? Simple. Let this query or output of this query be given as input to some outer query. Is that okay? Let this query works as an inner query or a subquery. The output of this query will go as input to an outer query or the main query. Let's see how, if you could understand. Okay, this is what I have mentioned here. Now use this above query in the main query. Means select name, salary. You see, these are the 2 columns here, name and salary, from employee table, where salary is greater than, of course I can't write average of salary. salary is greater than the output of this inner query. Now we all know what is the output of the inner query, right? That's why the best way to learn subquery is first execute the subquery separately, see what is the output, and then run the full query. Is that okay? So select these two columns from the employee table where condition applied salary is more than whatever is the output of this query. Is that fine? So let's see whether it works or not. Select name, salary, two columns from employees where salary is more than average of. Is that okay? Select average of salary from employees. The output of this query is going to be 5916. Let's see whether this query gives us an output or not. Okay, so these three guys have more than average. Bob, David and Frank. Is that okay? So this is how we made use of this subquery, whose output was then given as input to the outer query, which is the main query. Now having understood what is subquery, after having understood subqueries kya hoti hai, what is a subquery, let me introduce to you the three types of subquery. First of all, called as a single row subquery. Secondly, called as a multi-row subquery. And the third row called as a correlated subquery. If time permit, I'll go to correlated. Otherwise, only single row and the multi-row. Okay, now what we executed this was a single row subquery. Is that okay? Single row subquery, you see the output itself is one. The one who gives you exactly one output. Is that okay? If the output of the subquery is single, right? For example, select average of the salary. So average of the salary is a single output. That is called as a single row subquery. Right? I executed this query with average. You could have executed it with maximum also. Okay, so no row selected. What is the meaning of this? You are checking where salary is more than maximum of everyone's salary. No, how can this be possible? There was no error in the query, but if 8000 is maximum, and this is the promise of the maximum function to show you the highest value, then how can somebody else earn more than higher, correct? That's why average or maybe a count and all might make some sense here. Okay, so that is called as a single row. When you talk about multi-row subquery, this returns multiple values. Not a single value is an output, but many values are output. In case of multi-row subquery, we generally make use of this special words like in, any, and all. In, any, and all. Because when you use these keywords, the output from the query is many, not a single value, but many value. Right? For example, I want name and salary of everyone whose department ID is, okay, where department ID is in. Okay, select department ID from department table where location is New York. Is that okay? Now I don't know. I want department ID of New York, but department ID of New York is in department table. Right? For example, there is a department table here. Those who did not understand, create table department. Okay, so department ID, which is a primary key. Okay, what's the other name? Location. This is a string of the size 10. Okay, let me insert some values inside this. Insert into department values. Okay, so department number 1, location New York. New York. Okay, department number 2, let me say location Mumbai. Okay, department number 3, let me say location Sydney. I hope you got my point here, right? I think this is going to create a problem because here I have said department as what? Okay, department IDs are 10, 20, 30, 40 this way. No problem. No problem. So let me do this again. Department number, instead of 3, 4, let me write 10, which is, for example, New Delhi. Okay. Department number 20. Okay, department number 20, let me say this is, okay, Tokyo, Japan. Okay, let me commit this. Let me say select all the data, all the columns from department table. So 1, 2, 3, and 10 and 20. Is that okay? Now, I want to know the department ID of New Delhi. How will I do that? Select department ID where location is New Delhi. Am I right? What am I doing? Select. Okay, 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 okay. You must stop me for this in case if you find any problem there. Let me clear my screen. This was the query, and in this query, I did not mention the table name. Select department ID from department where location is New Delhi. Okay, why? So select star from department. Okay, so where New Delhi. Okay, I hope you understood that point. So department ID is 10. So if I want to find out the department ID whose location is New York, how will I write? The location is New York. Correct? Fine. Now what I want to do, listen to me. Now what I want to do. Okay. Uh, department ID is in whatever output written by the subquery. Okay. For example, select employee names from employees department ID department ID is in say I want to know everyone who works in department number 10. Now I know department number 10 is for something, what was that, New Delhi, right? Fine, so help me write that query again. Select was what was the inner query that returns the department ID? Department ID from department. Am I right? Department ID from department table where location is equal to New Delhi. Okay, select all columns from employees. Okay, so column name in employee table is not DEPT ID, it is department ID. Okay, so let me break this query one by one. For those who have joined us late, this is a subquery which is a multi-row subquery. Help. So select. Okay, let me introduce you the two tables I am using today. Those who have joined me late, select star from employees table and select all the columns from department table. Okay, see these people work in this department 10, 20, 30, 40. And who is department number 10? New Delhi. Who is department number 20? Tokyo. I want name of all the people who work in department number 10. Is that okay? I want the names, or let me say, I want the names of all those employees who work in New Delhi. Question clear? I write here one more time. Come on. Return me names. Okay. Give me names. 2 hyphen is to comment a line. Although this is a notepad file, not an SQL script. This is only to let you know. Give me names of all the employees who work in New Delhi. Is that okay? No, I know New Delhi has department ID 10, and that's the only common data between two tables. This is also department ID and this is also department ID, right? So how am I going to write that query? First of all, select from employee table name, select name from employee table. Come on people, select the name column from the employee table where where this department ID. Now I don't know what is the ID of New Delhi. Is it 10? Is it 20? Is it 30 or is it 40? I don't know what is the department ID in the department table of New Delhi. So what will I do? In that case, I will write a subquery where department ID is in. When you write in, what happens? Come on, here what I'm using is when you write in, it is going to check in that value. Am I right? It is going to check for comparison, it is going to check the data in that range or in that particular list. Right? So where department ID is in this query, like select. Now help me to write the subquery, everyone. Department ID is in select DEPT ID. Take the department table. Select DEPT ID from department where location is equal to New Delhi. Am I right? So how this is going to work? First inner query will run. Inner query will say department ID of New Delhi is 10. Correct? अभी थोड़ा देर पहला ये inner query run किया था. So department ID of location New Delhi, its department ID is 10. So 10 as output of the inner query will go as input to the outer query. Am I right? Inner query का output outer query को input जाएगा. New Delhi's department ID is 10. So how this query will become now? Select name from employees where department ID is in the value 10. Let me say enter. That is Elise and Charlie. These two people work in department number 10. Cross check. Yes, Elise works in department number 10, means that is New Delhi. And Charlie also works in department number 10, who is again New Delhi. Are you understanding? Right? So this is how in works. Okay, this is how in works, people. This is an example of multi-row subquery, which might return more than one value. Everyone, if this is in, check this example. In means it checks if a value matches any value in the list. Right? For example, select name from employee where department ID is in 10, 20 or 30. So everyone who works in this three department, their names will be presented or displayed in the output, correct? So this is the first multi-row subquery using in. Then using any or some. Okay, any or some means what? It compares a value to each value in the list and true, and it returns true if the condition matches at least one value. For example, if you did not get this point, say select salary from employees where department ID is 10. Now if I run only this part of the query first, select salary where employee ID is 10 or employee's department ID is 10. What does that mean? Everybody who works in department ID number 10, I want their salary. डिपार्टमेंट नंबर 10 में काम करने वाले सब एम्प्लॉय की मुझे सैलरी जाननी है. सो हाउ विल आई रन दैट? ओके, सेलेक्ट सैलरी फ्रॉम एम्प्लॉयज वेयर डिपार्टमेंट ID is equals to 10. Okay, so salary is 5,000 and 4,000. So basically this output is a multiple value, 5,000 and 4,000, right? This is called as not a single value query. This is a multi-value query. Now करना क्या है हमको? Now I want names from employee table. I want to know the names of the employee table whose salary is more than any of these. Am I right? So I want the names of all the employee whose salary is more than any of the salary from department number 10. Is that okay? वो सारे एम्प्लॉय के नाम बताओ जिनकी सैलरी डिपार्टमेंट नंबर 10 में काम करने वाले लोगों से ज्यादा है. राइट? किसी एक एम्प्लॉय नहीं, डिपार्टमेंट नंबर 10 में काम करने वाले किसी भी एम्प्लॉय से ज्यादा है. एनी, यू अंडरस्टैंड? एनी, दैट इज द अदर वर्ड हियर, सम. Instead of any, you could have made use of some also. Is that fine? You could have made use of some also. So how will I write that? Select name. Hurry up. Okay, fine. So select name from employees whose salary is more than any of the value returned by this inner query. Correct? ये inner query ने जो भी return किया उसकी value से ज़्यादा है. So the names are Frank, David, Bob, Eva and Alice. Correct? The same query, instead of any, if I write all, hold on, hold on. I don't want this. Instead you could have done Control Z as well. No. Okay. Alright. For example, select name from employees where salary is more than, not any, but all, means all of these values. What was the output of this inner query? 4,000 and 5,000, right? 4,000 and 5,000. Now, anybody who earns more than both of them, no, not at least one, nahi, both of them. Okay, so these four people. Keep cross-checking the output. Keep cross-checking the output as well. Right? All of them. That means if I say select all data from employees, okay, what is Eva's salary? Okay, 5,500, which is more than 4,500. What is Bob's 6,000, which is again more than both the values. David's salary, it is more, okay, it's 7,000, which is again more than both the returned values, correct? More than both the return value. Eva's salary, okay, we have already cross-checked. And finally, Frank, that is 8,000, which is again more than both the given values. Hoping people are understand, right? So this is called as nothing but a multi-row query. Is that okay? Everybody here? Fine. So this is in, any and all, the three keywords that is used to check the subquery condition, right? And finally, we have a correlated subquery, the third and the last type of subquery. It runs once per row of the outer query. For example, we want to find out employees who earn more than average salary of their department. Right? Say for many people work in department number 10, many people work in department number 20, many people work in department number 30 and 40. So first what we have to do, we have to find out average of all the department. So that will be the inner query. And then we will write the outer query as select name, salary, department ID from the employee table where salary is more than average salary of their department. You got my point? So what is happening here? This condition where you have written where department ID is equals to E dot department ID. This is making your query to run once per row of your outer query. Are you understanding? Once per row of your outer query. Hope things are clear to you, right? That's all for the session today. I would like to bring this class to the end, but we will continue with subquery again from correlated subquery tomorrow, along with some functions like ranking functions, windows function in the class tomorrow. Okay, quickly to let you know what we have done. We started with what is a subquery, correct? It's a query inside another query, right? Since all the condition cannot be met with a single PLSQL query, therefore we make use of the subquery. There are three types of subqueries. One called as a single row subquery who returns only a single value. Then called as a multi-row subquery who returns multiple values. And finally correlated subquery that runs once per row of your outer query. Okay. Nice to see you all. Once again, see you back tomorrow with a new topic. So make sure that you're joining us. And do not forget to like, subscribe and please comment us in case if you're liking our work. Okay. Bye. Goodbye. Take care.